Hi everyone, I'm going to be presenting my course, Level 300 Grammar. The topic of my course is Intermediate Grammar for English as a Second Language. It's called Level 300 Grammar because it would be one course in a multi-level program that runs from level basic or 0 to level 600. So level 300 would be about midway through the entire program. The students taking this course would be adult international students, and by adult I mean anywhere from 18 years and up. They'd come from a variety of countries and cultural backgrounds. They'd take this course as part of an intensive English program, which is designed to build their English proficiency so they can be admitted to either the University of Arkansas or maybe some other university program in the States. Many of the students would be high school graduates preparing to earn their bachelor's degree. Some may have already completed part or all of a bachelor's program in their home countries, so a few would be looking towards a master's program or even a PhD program. The overall goal of the course is to expand students' knowledge and mastery of grammar, mainly to help them understand and apply more complex grammatical structures in writing. We would work on building their speaking proficiency too, but the primary focus would be written production. The course would start off with an orientation unit that would have two activities. The first is a scavenger hunt that forces students to look around the course and find specific information. This will help make them familiar with the course layout, where to find important information, where to find their assignments, and so forth. It will also teach them how to submit a document for a Blackboard assignment. The second activity has them introduce themselves on the Blackboard blog tool. And this is to help them build a sense of community and also learn how to use the blog. I wanted to give them the option to either write their introduction or speak it, depending on what felt more comfortable to them. Some of my students feel really comfortable writing, others are more confident speaking, so I included instructions for Kaltura, but it's up to them whether they use it or whether they just type out their post. Then, in terms of content, the grammar topics would be organized into 5 main units. We'd start with noun phrases, gerunds, and infinitives, then modals, imperatives, and conditionals. After that, we'd get into perfect tenses, then passive voice and participial adjectives, and then we finish with adjective clauses. Each unit is divided into several lessons, and the lessons all share the same basic structure. After they read or watch the materials, they'll post one thing that they're confused about or one thing that they learned or understood well. They'll have 1 or 2 activities to complete, either individually or with a partner. Some lessons might have a collaborate session partway through, so I can address their questions and have them do some live speaking activities. They'll have a lesson quiz, and then at the end of each unit, a unit test. By having them complete a lot of different types of assignments and assessments, I hope to get a more authentic picture of their learning and also to make cheating a little more difficult. The tools students will use throughout the course to complete these activities will be the Blackboard blog, the wiki, the discussion board, and Blackboard Collaborate for web conferencing. I'll also have them use Kaizena, which is a web application, for some of the pair work, but if there are any accessibility issues, we can fall back to the wiki instead. For this project, I developed the second lesson in the passive voice unit, which deals with passive voice formation. Students would have already learned the difference between passive and active voice and what passive voice is generally used for, but now they need to learn how to form it and how to put it into different tenses. The lesson starts with a brief overview and the lesson objectives. In readings and resources, they have some readings and exercises from the textbook, a video lesson, and an interactive study guide to go with the video lesson. They've got some web resources and extra practice activities in the extra resources section, then a to-do list for the entire lesson. There's also a folder at the bottom with just their assignments. So what basically happens is the students watch my video and follow along in the interactive study guide. There's blanks for them to fill, and there's a note section to the right. And towards the end of the video, there's some guided practice. The students pause the video when they get to this section, try the exercises on the study guide, then unpause the video, and I walk them through the answers. When they're done with the video, they do some more practice exercises in their textbooks and check their answers. Their first assignment is to post one thing they didn't understand from the video or from their book exercises, or if they don't have a muddiest point, one thing that was very clear for them. They can do this as a text entry, or they can ask their question in a short Kaltura video if they want. They can help answer each other's questions here, and I can plan some follow-up instruction for our Collaborate session later. Next, they'll find a recipe and post it to the blog. They'll take the recipe, which will most likely be written as a list of imperatives, and they'll change the recipe into a short process paragraph using passive voice. I want them to include their original image or link so I know that they did the conversion from a real recipe, not just found some paragraph somewhere and copied it in. I can also use a plagiarism detector like SafeAssign if I want to check for plagiarism. Next, we'll have a scheduled web conferencing session where I'll address some of the questions or the common errors that came up in the Muddiest Point forum, and I'll give them a chance to ask questions. I'll also have them do some live speaking exercises in pairs or small groups, and then we'll probably do a quick team competition in Socrative. Their next assignment will be a collaborative pair activity in Kaizena. Each partner gets a different set of sentences to complete, and each sentence requires a different tense. They'll have to use the context to decide which tense to use, and then put it into passive voice. When they finish their sentences, they'll upload their completed document to Kaizena. In Kaizena, they'll open up their partner's document and check their partner's work. They have to comment on each answer, saying whether it's correct, or if it's wrong, correcting it and explaining why. When they highlight a part of the sentence to comment, they can do a text comment or a voice comment, and the comment attached to the highlight shows up here in the left column. Next, they'll use their partner's feedback to make any revisions and submit the revised document to Blackboard. I wanted to include this feedback stage first to add some interaction. Second, it exposes them to another set of problems and forces them to evaluate their partner's answers. Then, requiring them to include explanations in their feedback helps me see what they actually know. This is part of their grade, and it'll make it more difficult for them to cheat. Finally, students will have a quiz to complete by the end of the lesson. They can start on this quiz any time during the lesson, and they can take it as often as they want until we move on to the next lesson. I did a couple of things here to discourage cheating. First, I try to take away some of the pressure by allowing them to take the quiz several times and asking them not to use their books or notes on their first attempt. I'll draw from a pool of questions, so when they retake it, they won't necessarily get the same questions. Also, the quiz is timed, so it'll be harder to look through the book and through the notes and still complete it in time. I'll base their grade on the score of their last attempt. I'm hoping this setup will encourage them to try and beat their previous scores, but without such a great temptation to cheat. Okay, I think that's it for my presentation. Thanks for watching, and congratulations on finishing this crazy 5-week session.